Hello! We are 2 weeks out. I'm sure it doesn't seem like that long for you guys who have been following me through this journey, but I thought it went so slow at first, and then all of a sudden I was 4 weeks out, and now I'm 2 weeks out, 1 week away from peak week, and I'm just so freaking excited. I can't wait to crush this next week and then hit peak week with the force of 1,000 waterfalls. So before I dive into my peak week protocol, I kind of want to go over just a couple things about this whole process since I've started, and then obviously just go over a little bit about the wellness division and what my goal for peak week is. First of all, I ultimately decided to do another bodybuilding competition because I wanted to prove to myself that I can follow through with something that isn't going to give me daily instant gratification. I'm super proud of myself, and I ultimately wanted to do this bodybuilding competition because typically when somebody becomes sober, you start relying on other things like over-consuming or under-consuming food. You start relying on excessive exercise or lack thereof, and things just change. You get out of your comfort zone, and us as humans, we just start depending on other things, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't do that. So I gave myself a goal, I gave myself a process that wasn't gonna let me deter from my sobriety, but also dive into some other sort of unhealthy coping mechanism. And I'm sure you're probably thinking like contest prep isn't the healthiest, and I understand that, but being a nutrition coach and, understanding exercise science, I know exactly how these go. I've done bodybuilding shows before, and I've never been so excited to train hard and bring my calories back up to maintenance after show. So I don't see there being any unhealthy correlation with prep. The only benefits that I've really gotten from prep are mental toughness, discipline, and just self-trust, understanding that I am able and fully capable of applying myself to something long period that isn't giving me daily justification and daily validation. So it's been nothing but benefits from the beginning. Yes, I'm hungry. Yes, I'm tired. I lost a little bit of muscle. I'm really lean, but I feel so confident in myself, and I feel very, very ready to hit stage in 2 weeks. With that being said, let's talk about wellness. So the wellness division is only maybe 2.5 years old. It's a very new division, and a lot of people don't really know what the difference between bikini and wellness is. When it comes to NPC shows, because there's not any prerequisites you need for signing up for an NPC show, the physique of a lot of wellness girls, this applies for all the divisions, but wellness specifically, I've seen girls who compete in the bikini and figure divisions also crossing over into the wellness divisions. So because there's no prerequisites, the physique kind of differs show to show. If you look at IFBB or the pro level shows, there's a clear distinction between wellness and bikini and even figure. So essentially, to my understanding and my knowledge and the way that I like to explain it is wellness is similar to bikini in the posing, actually looking for much more built legs than just built glutes, and just overall a little bit more muscle than that bikini division. So essentially they're looking for a built upper body, built lower body, more quads, more legs, more hamstrings in general, and then for both they're looking for a nice tight waist. So it's very much like bikini with a little bit more muscle and a little bit different poses. And I thought this was a really good choice for me because I'm a little bit more muscular than most bikini girls. I probably would have had to lose a lot more muscle mass to be able to feel confident in myself on stage. Aside from placing or doing well on the show, I just don't want to step on stage if I don't feel good about the package that I'm bringing, if I don't feel like I'm meeting the criteria that the judges are looking for. Because not only do I want to follow through with this show, I want to do a good enough job to where I feel good about stepping on stage, and I think that's kind of where everybody should start. You just want to feel good about yourself. You want to have this end goal, this end date, and I think that is a really wonderful reason to do a bodybuilding competition. Now, if you want to move farther than that, it's going to take a lot more than just feeling confident in yourself. You're going to want to make sure you're getting everything you need in during off season and prep to make sure you're dialing in, and if you really want to do well in place and go farther into that division. So my main goal for peak week is essentially just to get as lean as possible. I've done copious amounts of research for peak week, and it looks like a lot of the really successful coaches in bodybuilding really hone in on being as conditioned as you possibly can and being as lean as you possibly can. Now, for wellness, they're not really looking for striations like they are in figure. Striations are like your muscle fibers being shown, like in your legs and glutes, but they want you like right on the cusp of that. So still very lean, but just not where you're like shredded, peeled, absolutely like seeing every single fiber of muscle in your legs. I'm definitely not like what a pro would consider stage lean. I'm obviously not a pro. This isn't me trying to go move forward in my bodybuilding career. This is just me trying to prove to myself that I can do something and be confident with what I brought. I would have definitely gotten myself a coach had I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the actual career of bodybuilding. But because I've been doing this by myself, peak week is going to be a bit of a trial period for me. I have a protocol set in stone and I'm just going to follow through with it, and we're going to see how it goes. I think it's super interesting. There's a lot of people out there who like hide their peak week. They like try to keep it a secret. And I just think that's super weird because like everyone's going to peak differently. So just because somebody knows your strategy and they use your strategy doesn't mean they're going to come out on top or look the absolute best. And there's not a lot of information out there on peak week. Like there are very few peak week videos where people actually share like exactly what they're going to be doing. So it's tell all today with you and I'm going to go over exactly what I'll be doing for the next 13 days, and you're gonna get every piece of information that I have for my plan. So as I said, I'm 2 weeks out, and starting today, I dropped my calories by another 100, and then I'm increasing cardio by 10 minutes a day for the next week and a half until I'm done doing cardio. So that is 1 hour and 10 minutes on my training days, and then 1 hour and 30 minutes on my rest days. I know a lot of people are like, dude, you're still doing an hour and a half of cardio, that's not resting. But in prep, if you're not training, it's considered a rest day. And if you saw my 4 weeks out video, I talked about how I wasn't really tracking everything. This week, we are tracking absolutely everything. So that's gonna bring my deficit down a little bit more. It's gonna be miserable, it's gonna be rough, but I would, as I said, just wanna make sure that I am as lean as possible. I'm also PMSing this week, so my weight is up like 3 pounds. I don't look any different, but I definitely feel like a little bit bloated. And that is just stressing me out beyond belief, but I am following the process, trusting the process, and I know that once I start my period and like a couple days after that, my body's gonna be right back to where it was. So trying not to stress about it, trying not to weigh myself every day, and just focusing on executing my plan. So that's what I'll be doing for the next 7 days. Yeah, until next Monday, I'll be following that exact plan. And then come Monday, we are doing a keto diet. Calories are gonna stay the same, training's gonna stay the same, cardio is gonna stay the same, but I am dropping my carbs even lower than they are right now, and then increasing fat a little bit and keeping protein where it's at, and not having any margin for error of not getting as lean as I possibly can. Also, once I carb up on Thursday and Friday, my body's gonna respond really well to carbs, so I'm hoping that that'll overall make my physique look better, muscles look more full, and just overall look as lean and crispy and just conditioned as I possibly can. So starting peak week, it is Monday right now, so I have 6 days until peak week starts. So Saturday, Sunday are gonna be the same diet, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is gonna be a keto diet, and then starting Thursday and Friday, it is when I'm going to carb up, and I'm so excited. I am so very excited. I'm gonna be doing probably 250 to 300 grams of carbs, depending on how my body responds and how I'm looking. I'm pretty much going to be checking pictures like every probably like 3-4 hours just to see how my body's responding. When you are that lean and you are that almost like deprived, your body responds really quickly. So any slight modification is going to make your body look different, which is super interesting to me. I love the human body and exercise science, and I'm really excited to see kind of how that changes on a regular basis. And then water. So starting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to increase by like a liter and a half, depending on how I'm feeling and looking. And then come Thursday, I'm gonna cut water by 70% and try to do my best to dry out. So when I cut water, but also increase carbs, that's just gonna take all the excess water out of this layer on my skin. So I'm gonna be looking very dry, I'm gonna be cotton off, I'm gonna be dehydrated. It's not gonna be the best time, but I'm going for looking as good as I can on stage. So only gonna dehydrate until I start cramping when I'm posing. So obviously Thursday, Friday, I'm gonna be doing a good amount of posing. Not gonna be super active in terms of like exercise, like cardio and training. So posing is really gonna be where I'm gonna probably exert the most energy. So once I start cramping during my posing sessions, that's when I will start introducing water again. Water also helps to kind of fill you out. Carbs soak up your water. The carbohydrates stored in your muscles also going to soak up water, so it's going to just make you look a little bit more full without kind of like overdoing it. Once again, this is all something that I'm trying just from the research, so this could go terribly wrong, and I'm going to have to step on stage regardless, but from the research that I've done, that sounds probably like the best route. And then sodium. So I'm not really gonna modify sodium very much. I'm pretty much gonna keep it consistent throughout the week. Sodium is your carbohydrate transporter, so I don't think it's super wise to pull that or decrease that. Just keeping it consistent and obviously going like the simplest way for peak week is probably gonna be best for me. Modifying all these factors just might not be the easiest and the best to keep up with. And then obviously the more factors you modify, the less you're gonna know which one is doing which and which one is helping the most or the least or what have you. So I'm really only gonna manipulate carbs and water for peak week and see how that goes. As I said, for Thursday and Friday, which are my carb up days, I'm gonna be between 250 and 300 grams of carbs. Might be more than that, might be less than that. It just depends on how my body's responding to it all. But that's where I'm gonna be gauging it right off the bat. And then protein is gonna be probably a little bit less, only because protein takes a while to digest. So I'm gonna limit that in hopes that my carbohydrates will digest as quickly as they possibly can. Probably not really gonna do much with fat. I'm obviously gonna lower it back down so it's not in like that ketogenic range, probably just back down to like 25-30% of my total calories. So not really gonna be doing much with fat aside from the keto diet that I'll be following those first 3 days. Show day is going to be similar to Thursday and Friday, except I am stepping on stage somewhere after 9 a.m. for prejudging, so that's pretty early for prejudging. The other shows I did, it was Friday and Saturday night, so I'm not going to have a lot of time to carb up Saturday morning, which is why I'm starting my carb up on Thursday, just to make sure I get enough in. So essentially, I'm probably just gonna wake up and have like a big ass bowl of oats. I have to wake up probably around 4 a.m. to go get my coat of tan and my makeup done and do my hair and obviously get ready. I think I'm really just gonna do like 30 to 40 grams of carbs every hour and a half to 2 hours, along with a little bit of protein every time I eat some carbs. So I'm hoping to get in like 200 grams of carbs before I actually step on stage. And I'll be carbing up pretty cleanly. This also goes for Thursday and Friday. I had a little bit of digestive issues the last like month, so I want to carb up on stuff that my body is used to, like rice cakes and jelly and oats and normal rice. I'll be using like peanut butter and salt. Just things that my body has been accustomed to over the last few months. I'm not gonna really be eating like any vegetables at all those last 3 days because fiber makes you feel really full and it can cause bloating. Not really gonna have any vegetables after Wednesday. and just sticking to really, really, really clean carbs all the way till finals is over. And I guess the last piece of information, and this is just something that I got from a peak week video that I watched, is I'm gonna be drinking like one of those small servings of Gatorade like an hour before my show, just so I can get some sodium, some nutrients, hydration, and some carbs in. And I just want to make sure that I'm able to pump up before I get on stage. So I don't want to over consume liquids, because first of all, you have a tan, and when you go to the bathroom, as we know as girls, like sometimes it splashes up on your legs and stuff, and I don't want to get like a million touch-ups. I don't want to be peeing all the time. I don't want to have to pee on stage. I don't want to feel at all like my stomach is full or my bladder or anything like that. So I ultimately just want to make sure that I have enough to pump up, enough water and sodium to pump up with, but not too much where I'm like having to go to the bathroom all the time. Just want to make sure I am doing everything I can to stay as flat as I can in my midsection, and also just feeling good and ready to pump up, ready to step on stage, and overall just fucking crush it. Crush it for myself. I think I've covered pretty much everything. If you have any recommendations, questions, comments, drop them below. That was pretty much full disclosure on how my peak week and show day is gonna go. I will be vlogging that, so make sure you hit subscribe if you wanna see the show day vlog as well, and the good foods that I'll be eating afterwards, and my plan for post-show, all that good stuff. It's been so much fun, and I want to thank you guys also for just following along with my journey, and you know, just being super supportive and loving, and also the positivity with my sobriety. The encouragement and the love from you guys with that has been just through the roof, and I can't thank you enough. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you there, and I will see you guys on show day.